feel like it's almost touching my mouth. Hi, Ross Montessori. Good to see you. So glad that you are here. And today we have some special guests. These are Ross alumni. That means they used to go to Ross Montessori, and now they don't anymore. They graduated from Ross and are doing other things with their lives. And we like to invite our alumni back to tell us what it's like when they go to high school. Sometimes we even have some college students come, or other people who are finished with high school. So what we're going to do today is listen to our alumni. They're going to tell us about their stories about their time at Ross and their time since they left Ross. And so first, I have a few questions that are prepared, and then at the very, very end, you all also will be able to ask some questions about Ross Montessori or about what all of these lovely young folks are up to now. Sound good? All right. And thanks to all of our parents who are here today too. Glad to see you here. All right, so our first question is, please introduce yourself. Tell us your name, maybe when you came to Ross Montessori, like what grades you were in, what grade you're in, what school you go to now, and then maybe one other thing that you like to do also. Sound good? All right.
Hi, my name is Mariana. I am a 9th grader at Roaring Fork High School. I attended Ross kindergarten through middle school, so it was like 9 to 10 years. And I really like to play volleyball. Hi, my name is Yubi. I attended Ross Montessori kindergarten through middle school, and I'm a freshman in high school.
Hi, I'm Amethyst. I attended Ross Montessori kinder through middle school. I am currently a junior in high school, and I like writing.
I'm Matt. I attend Roaring Fork High School. I went here like 4th through 8th grade, and I'm playing sports right now.
Hello, my name is AJ, and I attended Ross kindergarten through 8th grade, and I'm currently a sophomore. And the thing that I've been like to do is kayaking and stuff. I'm down to Shoshone, and I'm gonna run the slaughterhouse this summer and stuff, and go down to waterfalls and stuff on kayaks.
I'm Oliver. I'm a sophomore at Roaring Fork. I attended Ross from 6th to 8th grade, but I was in Montessori my entire life, and I like to mountain bike.
Hi, my name is Magnus. I attended Ross K through 8. I am a sophomore in high school, and one thing I like to do is run track, I guess.
Hi, I'm Genesis. I was also at Ross K through 8. I'm a junior in Roaring Fork, and I like to play lacrosse. Hi guys, I'm Avery. I went to Ross preschool through 8th grade when there was still preschool here. I'm currently a junior at Glenwood Springs High School, and I'm about to start golf season for the varsity team at Glenwood.
So thanks for introducing yourselves.
Miss Mandy loves the microphone, just so you guys know, like, she loves it.
I don't like the microphone. Not true. Can you imagine yourself in just 2, 3, 4 years being their age? in high school? Because some of you will be soon enough. All right, so our next question for our alumni is, what's one thing that you learned about yourself when you were at Ross Montessori? Who's ready to start this one?
The biggest skill that I learned about myself is that I'm actually an independent person. For a long time, I did not see myself as a individual, confident person, but now that I've left, I realize I am much more confident and independent than many other students that haven't gone through a Montessori program, and I find that really important in my everyday life.
In high school, I think it's really important, well, in everyday life, but especially in high school, it's really important to have a relationship with your teachers. And it's such a big school. Like in our school, we have 450 students, and our teachers just see every face every day. So I think it's really hard to build that relationship with your teachers. And so at Ross, because it's smaller and because you have you see the same teacher every day, it's a lot easier to build a relationship with your teachers, and it's beneficial because you can ask for help, and a lot of the time they will extend due dates for you, and it's helped a lot because in other schools I know a lot of teachers you don't get the same learning experience, and you don't know how to connect with your teachers in the same way that I learned how to through Montessori.
In Montessori, I guess I learned that I have a passion for learning, which is something that I feel like a lot of high school kids definitely don't have. There's a big part your GPA and your grades and everything like that, but you also have to be passionate about what you do, and you have to like learning in order to get through it. And I think that Ross, coming from K through 8 and just learning everything the simple way and then expanding on it was definitely something that I learned about.
What I learned at Ross is kind of what Avery said, to develop independence, and I think that's been beneficial in high school, just because you need to be able to be independent to complete assignments and stuff. So, yeah.
A lot of things I learned at Ross was all the materials you needed for all the math and all your classes, and especially lower L and upper L. When you actually sit down with work, you can actually understand how the actual multiplication and the division works, and then the squaring and the square roots. So then when you get to high school and the teacher just talks about it, you already know a lot about it. Then you can have better chances with tests and lessons and stuff, because high school classes go by really fast, and the teachers just blow by lessons and stuff. So yeah.
I think it's a really beneficial skill that I learned here, is being able to ask teachers for help. And a lot of the times in high school, those teachers will sit down with you and walk you through whatever lesson you're going through.
Something I learned about myself through Ross, I would have to say, is definitely stick with it. It takes a lot to get something done, but it'll feel so much nicer once you get it done. And it's the ability to just stay with something and repeatedly attack it until you actually are able to persevere.
Something that I learned about myself here at Ross is something that Avery and Oliver said, being independent in my work, because most of my homeworks and work I have to do in high school is independent, and I can't pick who I am in a group and who I have to work with. So what I learned here, how Genesis was saying, having a relationship with your teachers, but and how you would have one teacher here at Ross. Also in high school you have different teachers for almost every subject that you do. I guess there's other ones that are the same. In the classes that I take, there's completely different students, and at Ross, we would like also have like assigned seating, and I would really get confused in a lot of the work that I did, and I would have to, and sometimes when the teacher was busy, I would have to ask my partner kind of, and at high school, I felt like I already kind of knew how to talk to people and how to start a conversation, because there's just a lot of work that I, not a lot, but there's like the majority of the work, there's something that I really struggle with, and building like a connection with with a partner, or with at least one person in that class, in a class that I take, helps a lot.
Awesome, thanks. That was a nice variety of different things that you learned when you were here at Ross. All right, now please think about an academic subject or concept or skill that you learned about at Ross and that you have learned more about in high school. So an academic concept, and explain like how you're using what you learned here in high school.
So a public school is really different compared to like a Montessori school. In here we used a lot of materials to do our work, especially math, like the stamp game, the square roots, and the cubing and the squaring. And in high school or in public school, you don't have any of that, basically. And in like math, which is like what I struggle with the most, during tests or during a lesson, I felt like the materials that I used for math, they were sort of like, they provided like imagery in my head when I was like when I would start doing math, sort of like division, or when it would be like a really long division equation, I would think about like the stamp game and like setting out like numbers and saying like, oh, like this much would go into this pair. So I would kind of see math as like using materials in my head, not just numbers. Something academic that I got here from Ross was the organization skills that they give us, or like the organization tools that they give us while writing like papers, kind of, in middle school. That really helped me in my English class, because it was really hard to do without an organization skill. And I really appreciate my teacher for giving them.
When it comes to English, writing essays is the majority of what you're going to be doing in high school. And I can definitely say, due to Ross and their ability to, I can't really say force, but have us write essays in a way that was like paragraph by paragraph, made it so that I'm able to blend my ideas and thoughts and critical ideas in what I'm trying to say into writing that makes sense for other people and my teachers to understand.
Like what you said earlier about English. In English, like you have like no time to be not organized. I know from personal experience. It is super beneficial that you are organized.
One thing academic that Ross helped me out through high school was that the teachers really helped you out and like got you where you needed to be. If you're falling behind, they'd take one-on-one lesson with you, and they'd make sure you're up to par with the other class too. So with all your friends in your class, you'd be up to par with them. So when high school comes around and you all leave, you have that momentum to build on to your next classes in high school, because it really does make a difference. So you've got to know the subject and the tests and passing classes. So yeah.
Something that I learned at Ross that I learned more about in high school is like history stuff, like Genghis Khan. I know you guys are doing that now. And now that I'm in world history class, I've learned a lot more about Genghis Khan. The learning that we did about Genghis Khan in middle school has allowed me to kind of learn even more about it in high school. So, yeah.
One thing that I learned here at Ross and I continue to use is definitely like an analysis of something here, which I think is super valuable. So when you're reading something, definitely like going through it in depth and analyzing it and picking it apart, like I don't know the techniques and stuff that they use. Super prevalent in English that we use now is in our English classes, and I think we started that probably 6th, 7th grade. We did like the seminars, which is super helpful for that because you're like breaking it down, talking about it, and then like I think it's helpful to understand it. Eventually you're gonna be able to do that just by reading it, like you find what parts. So I think that is definitely.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of points you made, like Amethyst, Mariana, and Magnus. Seminars were extremely beneficial to me. We do have like something like a seminar in our English class, and none of the other like students from the middle school knew what those were. So just having that background knowledge, knowing how they work, I was often being able to reward points for like my input during those seminars. So that was just like, that was my own advantage from learning in this middle school. Also the extensive amount of essays we did right here in middle school in Ross. Those were really helpful. I learned, I guess they really taught me how to like write my thoughts on a paper in a fluent way. So the way you talk is very different to the way you write. And just like practicing essays over and over and over again, I learned to write the way I talk. So that's extremely helpful because when you write essays, oftentimes you sound like generic or like a little robot, and that's like those are really weird to read. You won't get very good like grades with those. They want to hear your authentic self, your words in your essays, as well as with math. I know in math class, a lot of my peers, they struggle a lot with the things that we, like material, just basic division. They did not learn to use like materials like the division board, the little, what is the blue test tubes, the little like pegs, the little army soldiers, I remember all that. Just that way of thinking has always stuck with me. So whenever I'm doing division, I'm always like, oh, there's 87 soldiers, we're giving out 200 mini soldiers to them, and so just like just like the simple ways, the simple little ideas really helps me. A lot of other students are like, how do you do this? And I'm just like, oh, like this. And they're like, I never learned it like that. And I was like, oh yeah, I came from Ross. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. So yeah, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, you're one of those Ross kids. And I'm just like, yeah. The way we think differently, we're taught differently, and I think there's advantages, and I think disadvantages, we don't know a lot of kids from other schools, but advantages definitely kind of just the way that we're extensively, repeatedly doing things that truly do benefit us in the future.
I don't think there's a certain skill that I can say has been the easiest for me to pick up at high school, but Montessori has definitely gave me the building blocks because high school is just an extension of what you're learning now. So you're learning division now, you're going to learn a new form of division when you get to high school and you take your first math class there. Everything's just a building block, and I feel like we have that, especially with the materials, because you can actually see how you're building up with it. I will admit that there were some skills that I didn't pick up, but that was also because I was here during a challenging time and we're trying to figure out how to teach things. We did science swap for a little bit, which did not work out. So biology I struggled in, but that was just the school trying to figure out how to make it work for us. So there's not a specific skill, but everything that I've learned here, I have used and built off of through the last 3 years in high school.
Thank you. When you have had a challenge at school, any kind of challenge, maybe an academic problem, a social problem with friends, something that you're not getting along with your teacher, whatever, any kind of problem that you have, what's a way that you have solved that problem, or what steps did you take to work towards solving that problem?
So I think the biggest problem that I had is the social change, especially going to Glenwood rather than Roaring Fork or CRMS. There was only, I believe, 2 or 3 kids that came from Ross with me to Glenwood, so that was kind of hard trying to transition into that and completely new people all the time. But in the last year, I think the biggest challenge is trying to properly communicate with teachers, because a lot of public school teachers are used to kids just like, they ask, if the teacher doesn't give, the kid gives up. So I've learned from here that you can't just give up first try. So that's a big thing that I've overcome, and a lot of teachers have started to understand that now that more and more Montessori kids are going there. That like if I ask something, I want an explanation, and I've worked that out, and I've explained to teachers why my brain works like that. And it's because I come here and I expect an explanation, because it's just respect, and that's a big problem that I've worked through with teachers, but it's been very helpful.
I would say, just like all the different aspects, like friends, family, sports, work, and then school, having all of that like loaded on your plate becomes really stressful. And so I think last year I was just extremely stressed out during like lacrosse season, and it was like the end of the year, all the tests, all the like all the big tests, right, where you want to get college credits and all this, and it just comes down to like communicating with your friends and family, like, hey, I'm going through a hard time, I really need you to have patience, understand where I'm coming from. I had to take time off work. I just had to remind myself to prioritize school over a lot of other things, over work. Over lacrosse, I'd have to miss practice to go to do my homework, and it's really important. Sometimes you love something, you love playing a sport, but I think knowing where your priorities are, that was a really big struggle for me. Like freshman year, I always want to go to like the basketball games, the volleyball games. I want to play all the sports. I played basketball and volleyball, and then I quit. And then, so yeah, just like realizing that these are just things in high school. They're fun little extracurriculars, but they are not, they're not what's taking you, that's not the path you're supposed to be taking for your future, you know?
Yeah, so a very similar thing to Genesis is coming into high school, like getting used to grades and having all that like pressure on every assignment that you do is definitely something that is like a little bit different here at Ross. And then those like final tests, like an AP test or anything like that you take at the end of the year can be very stressful. You thought you're going up to like a 90-minute test, not the easy thing. So I think yeah, it's like keeping your priorities straight, and everything Ross taught me is dedication to something. So it can be hard, and it can be like a lot of work to keep it together. But just like keep working at it and keep it moving. I think is definitely the best part. Like, there's no point in not doing something. It's like you keep going. So yeah, I think that's something Ross taught me.
So a problem that I had was taking school just a little bit too seriously and not letting myself, like kind of the opposite of them, just like not letting myself do a lot of extracurricular activities. So I think how I overcame that is just kind of giving myself some more slack. So like don't be too serious about school, because yes, it is important, but also you can't let it take over your entire life.
My problem was the opposite of Oliver's. I didn't think of school too much, and when finals came around, I was like really tired of school because I worked all semester on work, and I'm just so tired and wore out, and I just like, and then I looked down and I had like 5 more assignments due by tomorrow, and I'm up like at 1:30 a.m. just like trying to see if I can stay awake long enough to do it. Then I finally like complete it, and I don't even know what I wrote because I was so tired. Woke up, went to school, and they would give us the projects, and I would be half asleep the whole day, just writing homework assignments, like writing what the class was saying, and then like just falling asleep the whole class and just doing it all night. So I really want to go skiing and snowboarding and just a whole bunch of fun stuff during the weekend and not want to do schoolwork, but I just had to get all the schoolwork done, and after finals, it pays off like a lot.
Yeah, I think it was, for me it was mostly grades. I knew that if I didn't get my grades together, I wouldn't be able to do the things I did last year. And like it was said earlier, with grades it's a lot of pressure and it can be a little scary sometimes. But once you get the grades up to passing, you can be fine the whole rest of the year.
I actually want to go back to what Avery had to say. Social experiences in high school are so different. You right now are with kids that you've known for years, and I'm talking maybe 1, 2, 3, your whole life. These are people that you know. These are people you're comfortable with. These are people that you will spend a year with and be in a classroom and get to know and understand. Once you are in high school, you will not have that. You will be in a classroom with a mixed selection of 31 kids that you will not know. Every day, all day, different kids. I cannot name more than 2 of my classmates in any of my classes. It's going to be hard to build relationships and friendships with people that you do not know and then keep them up, especially if you drop out of that class or it's only 1 semester. So find your people and find them quick, and then choose to stay with them and build that connection outside of your classes. I can't stress that enough. You will be alone if you do not find a way to build connections with people outside of your classroom.
Something that I struggle with is not being able to express what I'm thinking. Because I usually, when I'm very angry, I express myself in a very negative way. And you can't do that in high school because if not, you'll get in trouble. But also being able to ask questions, I've also really struggled with that. I can't ask questions because if somebody doesn't ask it, I won't. So being able to like ask questions here with people you're comfortable with, very important. And having a relationship with your teachers is also very important. I feel like I struggled a lot with my thoughts. I think like having my thoughts straight, like, knowing exactly what I'm thinking of, because I tend to just say things without thinking before I say them, and I felt like during, especially during my older years, like during when I was getting into middle school, when I first entered middle school, I felt like I was like, oh, this is like so serious. I thought it was so serious. And then I felt like during like the mid school year, I feel like my motivation just kind of dropped, and I didn't really care about my grades. And I'm like, oh, whatever, I'll figure it out somehow. And then until like high school, I thought a lot about my grades, and I'm like, oh, this isn't the same as when I was in middle school. And I felt like there also were times when I just didn't care about my work. Like especially during finals. And how AJ was saying, staying up a lot. Staying up a lot is like is in my I tend to do it a lot, and and then when I'm in school, my focus just kind of isn't there anymore. And I feel like also staying organized was a lot of a struggle of mine, and it still is, but I'm working on it, and yeah.
Thanks for being honest about those things that challenge you, right? It's not all going to be easy all the time, isn't for any of us. All right. Next, can you describe a time when you have successfully collaborated with other people outside of your specific age group? So like here at Ross, you're in classes with 3 grades or 2 grades. In high school, you're with people with 4 grades. You're not only working with other kids who are your exact age, or sometimes it's not even other teens, right? Some of you have jobs, maybe you work with adults on your jobs. So what's a time when you collaborate with someone outside of your age group?
I don't exactly have a job, but I help my mom a lot at her work. And there's a majority of adults there. And whenever I am working there, it feels really different because adults, some of them, are very mature and they have more experience than us. And I feel like during teenage years is when you're kind of rebellious and you are more mature. And I feel like there are times where I just want to joke about something, although I know that it is a very serious topic, but I feel like that's just the way I cope with things when it gets very serious, especially under a lot of stress. And the way some of the adults there handle like stress, especially during like lunch times or dinner times where it's like very, or the restaurant is like very packed. I feel like compared to them, I just want to just like run away and like cry in a corner. But then especially my mom, she puts me like back on whatever I'm doing, and yeah.
I have a lot of friends that are upperclassmen, and it's great. Because they tell me, if I'm struggling in a subject, they'll help me, and I really appreciate them for that. Especially in chemistry and in physics. I was having, my grades weren't that good, but when I got assigned to a seat or a table with only upperclassmen, it was fun, sometimes. It depends who I was sitting with. But I really, really, really enjoyed the company that I had with my upperclassmen, because I could joke about things with them, but they'll also tell me to get back to work and have motivation.
Talking to adults is a lot easier. I do have to say that. Being able to respect them with them respecting me as well, because I'm talking to them in a way that reflects that I understand their position and ask for respect back. Really, I think highlights how well able we are to actually connect with people older than ourselves and just ask for things back, as well as put forth the energy needed to receive that sort of understanding, I guess.
Yeah, I think talking to adults is a lot easier, especially when you know some of those adults from the past. Currently taking math class, which we collaborate with different age groups all the time, and that really helps too.
My experience of collaborating is that there's classes that specifically help you out with homework, like tutorial, for instance. Every freshman and sophomore take it, also junior and seniors TAs, of which are paid in gift cards because they can't get actual money from the school, so the school pays them with gift cards, like $500 worth of gift cards. Yeah, it's a lot to just help freshmen and sophomores out with homework, and you gotta and what Ross has taught me is how to talk to them and how to get help from the seniors and juniors and the sophomore and your other sophomore friends too, so.
Yeah, we don't have tutorial at Roaring Fork, but in classes that we have upperclassmen, it is nice to have people that maybe have a little bit more experience with the subject to help you out, especially those who, and we even have some adults in our class because they're 18, and it's nice. It's just nice gaining the skills from having regraded our class at Ross to be able to talk to them.
So when I worked at Job, I guess I worked with people from a little bit older than me, all the way up to actual adults. So yeah, definitely collaborating with them. You know, I mean, it's not like a high intensity job for sure, but it's getting stuff done. Like we worked in the kitchen, and then I also worked at school, and those things are you gotta learn how to focus and work with other people. And I think that's something that Ross definitely taught me. And I think it's pretty apparent the difference between kids who don't go to Ross and how their collaboration with upperclassmen is compared to kids who do go to Ross and how they can interact with people of all grade levels and all ages, which is definitely pretty cool. Yeah.
I work at White House Pizza, and I don't know if I've seen any of you there. I don't remember a lot of faces, but there's a lot of teenagers my age, but there's also a lot of adults. And one thing that's really fun about working there is that there's a lot of adults and there's a lot of kids, but a lot of the times the adults and the kids they don't talk to each other, and that's just because they don't get along. The kids are kind of immature, the adults are a little more serious. And at Ross, you learn to respect adults and you receive that respect equally. And I think a lot of other kids that work with me, they're very disrespectful, and it was constantly hammered into my head that respect needs to be given to be received. And so it's not just a maturity thing, it's also a respect thing. So if you want to get along with other adults and just older people or anything, it's a lot about being nice, being respectful. You don't necessarily have to talk about politics or any of that. It's just about knowing who you're talking to and being able to get along with them. And Ross is we have a really good way. All my teachers were really respectful of me, and I tried to be respectful with you guys. I don't know how successful that was.
We had one or two moments I worried about, but other than that, you're good.
So kind of feeding off of that, the big thing that I learned is that age doesn't equal respect. It's the title that someone has that gives them authority. So a big fear of mine was I started taking CMC classes as a sophomore, and I was doing them in person at the campus, the college campus. And I was really afraid because a lot of the people that go to CMC can be anywhere from 14, 15, up till they're 50, 60. I've had that great mix of people. And my biggest fear was going in there and having a class with older people because they're adults and I'm not. But then it kind of just brought me back to here is that they don't have authority over me because of their age. Authority comes with your job title, your position in my life. Of course, my mom has authority, my teachers have authority, my bosses. But in that case, those other adults in my class were just peers. And that was a big thing that I learned in being able to collaborate with adults or other students or people in my life that are older than me because, there's an equal authority without a title. and then also learning to collaborate with younger people. We did a lot of that here at Ross, from just being in mixed class grades or when we were middle school or elementary school reading to the kinders. That was a big thing for learning how to work with younger kids, and that's helped me because I do a lot of that at school through tutoring.
All right, this next question's a rapid fire, meaning just quick answer. Boom, boom, boom. What's a favorite memory you have from your time here at Ross? Ooh, try to think of just one. Could be fun, funny, serious, ridiculous, whatever you got.
I feel like Amethyst has one right away.
Uh-oh, Amethyst has one. All right. If you don't have one, you can pass it.
I think my best memory here was when Miss Sonia came to pick us up after a camping trip. The bus was just not working. We got flooded out the night before, and you had a bunch of 5th, 6th grade girls in the back singing because the bus was stopped on the side of the road. We were tired, we were wet.
I definitely think my favorite moment was also the rifle falls. We just they dropped us off at the falls, and they were like, okay, go. Because we were all in the car, we were singing, we were doing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, the wheels of the bus, and they were just exhausted, they were tired of us. So they were like, just go, get lost, jump all in the river, and come back within this time. And so we went, we went behind the waterfall. Some people got in, some people didn't. It was just lots of fun. We found a lot of frogs, a lot of snakes. It was lots of fun. And yeah, that was the same time that we had to get picked up with a bunch of singing kids. So it was awesome, but it also kind of scary.
I think my favorite memory was my 8th grade San Diego camping trip. It was just really fun to build sandboards and do that. So.
My favorite memory, Sonia will remember this one, is I think it was the 6th grade camping trip, and it was in the kitchen, and I looked at some weird crack, and remember that big dead rat that was huge, and he just screamed, and it was funny, and I've never heard him scream so loud before. I just saw a big rat that's in the trap.
I think my favorite memory is also at the sand dunes when we were hiking. The first thing that we went to, and then when me and my brother got up there, where everyone else was, I just saw people just chucking themselves off the side of the sand dune.
Probably my 7th grade camping trip. It was probably my first time away from home, other than 6th grade and 4th, those. This is major stuff that I had to do and packing, and it was crazy because I was with a bunch of people and I hardly knew them because it was the beginning of the year. And yeah, it was really nice.
My favorite memory was last year's camping trip because I had to enjoy it with a bunch of my lovely people that I adore.
Mine was also definitely the sand dunes camping trip, especially the van ride to over there. We sang a lot of songs, especially the best one was Let It Go. Yeah, we kind of sang our heart out for that. It was just amazing. I really love it. And when people were just jumping off into the sand when we were in the hike, yeah, it was really fun.
Wow, a lot of good memories from camping trips. So even if you don't want to go on a camping trip, guess what? You should go. Because it will be an amazing memories later. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming, you guys. That's all the questions that I have prepared. But do any of the adults in the room, any of the adults have a question for our alumni right now? And if the adults don't, then we'll ask some students. But any adult questions first? Any adult questions? Oh,
I really liked what a couple of you said about when you're doing math, that you still visualize the materials in your head. Do you feel like everybody kind of does that? Do all of you do that? You can still kind of see like the cube or the fraction or something in your head a little bit. It's really interesting.
do lots of you visualize some math material in your head sometimes?
Actually, like, use the material and take it seriously.
If you use the materials and take it seriously, then yeah, you can visualize them now when you're doing harder math.
Especially the colors.
The colors of the math materials. Cool.
Yeah, that's what I hear of. Bring them to count down, like when you're using decimals, you have to count down. You have to color them. Yeah, it's really hard.
Another thing is about the, I think it was like one of the grammar ones. One of the grammar ones where like the prepositions and the conjunctions and all that. Dude, I sat down in English one time. Nobody knew, like my whole high school class, nobody knew what a verb was. What? Nobody knew. So the whole teacher for like a whole lesson had to explain to us what a verb was, and the high school kids still couldn't get it. So that was something that I really like. Yeah, so I visualized that a lot.
Just yesterday, I envisioned the green preposition one, like above it. So, yeah, that definitely helps me.
I didn't know that we didn't use the little Montessori school. Yeah, they were like showing them to us, and I was like, oh, that's the one with the red circle. And she was like,
How was that?
the red circle, and that's the one with the blue triangle, and I was like, and that's the green one. They were like, you're crazy. And I was like, no. I was like, I know what I'm talking about.
Any other adult questions? Okay, some student questions. Winnie. What are your GPAs like right
Well, you guys probably don't know much about GPAs, but I currently have a 3.7.
Nice!
Listen, they might tell you. They might tell you. We listen.
Last semester, I did like, I got some good grades. Well, some were good. The only ones I like were really bad were English and Spanish. I thought I barely passed both of them. So I passed all my classes last semester with A's and B's except for English and Spanish. I got like the lowest C everybody's seen, and it was like a 1.91, like a C minus, and I barely passed. So yeah, and now this year I have A's and B's so far, and 1 F in world history. I made a big project on world history, so definitely in history, geography, and all your social studies classes. One thing that you really need to know how to do is take notes. Like you can go on a YouTube video, search up something that you're interested in, and you'll have that whole video without pausing it. Just write a whole page of notes, and that's what it's kind of like because the teacher will not be pausing it every time. So, yeah.
Both Magnus and I have 4.3 GPAs.
Heck yeah!
The grades really don't matter. It's about what you learn in high school. So don't just learn for the grades.
I have a 3.84 in high school and a 3.96 for CMC.
Liz.
What is your favorite subject and why?
Favorite subject and why?
Currently my favorite subject is history. I'm actually getting a degree in history right now. I
can't exactly explain why, but we did a lot of history from like social to like literally like physical, like rocks, everything, and I feel like that's just giving me a great foundation. And having Ross like introduce me to topics that I can go so deep into, like they were saying Genghis Khan, like you can go so far into just that one little thing, and it's just amazing.
I really like English. I love writing. I don't like being told what to write, but I do like writing.
I like walking home after school.
I like the same, but actual subject last semester was definitely not English. It was chemistry, IPS chemistry. Our teacher put in a flamethrower and made the flamethrower a whole bunch of different colors, like red, blue, green. It was really cool. Now this year, since that was only a semester class, it's probably English now since I got a new teacher and is one of my kayaking instructors is my English teacher. So, yeah.
I would have to say world history is my favorite class, and some of the teachers here know that I really like history. Mostly because I like that class mostly because of the teachers as well. They're really fun and they're really fun to hang out with.
For teachers that have me in their class, this might come as a surprise, but literature. What can I say? Once I actually learned how to read, I like reading.
I really like my art class. It's really fun because of the people I have in class with, you know? They're all my friends.
I really like AP Human Geography. I play a lot with my grades in that class. It's like whenever we have quizzes with like questions that I don't know, I tend to play the guessing game, and it kind of works actually. Previous unit that we had, I kind of had a good grade, and I barely knew anything of it. And the kids in that class they're like, I don't know, there's a mixture of people that know a lot and don't know, and I feel like that's a class that I really like because everybody's like comfortable like sharing their answers, and the teacher is really fun. I don't know about others, but I really like the teacher, and yeah.
I think we have time for maybe one more question. Kristen. Who's the person that impacted you when you were here? A teacher. Or a teacher. Could it be a teacher, or it could be a friend, or it could be a kid, or it could be a kid, a teacher, anybody who impacted you when you were around.
I think that one of the teachers that had the most impact on me was probably Michael and Seifer. You know, they always hung out with me. They inspired me to like learn a lot more and actually try.
Person I probably remember most is Miss Wendy and Seifer, Lori, Mandy. Since I had 4 years with Mandy, I got held back in second grade. And Melissa, we're trying to all watch, and Melissa, we're trying to find all the hockey games on free on the Iranian website. We can find the abs games. And Wendy, I remember, good memory was, I think with the 6th grade passion projects and stuff. But that really helps the passion projects. 6th grade is like knowing how to use the Google Slides, it's like kind of an introduction of how to use Google Slides and documents and information and quotes and all that stuff you need for high school, because in high school they're just going to make you just write a whole Google slide. And like a 6th grade project, how you have a whole half a year to work on that, which is really nice. In high school, you get 3 days to work on that. Like the whole project, you get 3 days and it has to be done. and more advanced. And
yeah, I liked Seaford, Lori, Melissa, Matt, Michael, basically all the classes that I had because, I don't know, they're just funny.
I like all my teachers. I really enjoyed being in Michael's class, and Seaford's, Lori's. Miss Andrea was also, I don't know if any of you guys remember her. She was also, yeah. She's outrageous. She helped me a lot with like emotional support. Seaford and Michael, they always helped me whenever I had questions. They were always like, they made sure I understood. They didn't just abandon me. And then Michael didn't just like drop me off in middle school and was like, okay, bye. See you never. So Michael. So yeah.
I don't think I could pick every single teacher or staff member that I've had through Ross Montessori has impacted me academically, emotionally, socially, and everyone here has just changed my life for the better. But I will say, Miss Mitzi, you got me through 6th grade, and I appreciate you for that.
I'm going to say this. Seaford will forever be my favorite math teacher ever.
I liked a lot of my teachers. I liked Miss Monica a lot. I really liked her. I also like Miss Mandy, even though she got me in trouble a lot. It's okay. It's whatever. I also liked Miss Trisha. I really appreciated her, even though she was teaching. She taught me for like 1 year, but we built a really strong bond together. I also like Miss Melissa, because she offered to help me with my English, and I really appreciated her for that. And then I like all my friends that are still here. Some of them left, but it's okay.
I also can't just choose a teacher. I like all of my teachers because they also have all of them kind of have like a similar perspective, but like a different, and it allowed me to like be open-minded more. I miss middle school a lot, especially my teachers, Seaford and Melissa. I don't know, Seaford was just funny for no reason to me, and then Melissa, they kind of just said things to her, and she just kind of rolled with it, and she was like serious about it at the same time, so yeah.
Well, thank you all. Thank you all so very much. We really enjoyed having you here. We miss you. Please come back and visit anytime. And hope that you're feeling inspired and wondering what you're going to be like when you're in high school. Ooh. All right, let's give them one more